The girl everyone thought was mute spoke for the first time in 6 years. What she said made my blood run cold and saved my life in the same breath. This is the true story of how my 8-year-old niece Nola broke her silence with 7 words that exposed a betrayal so deep, it almost killed me. If you stay until the end, you'll discover how a cup of tea, forged legal documents, and a family secret nearly ended in the unthinkable. Hit subscribe and leave a like to help this channel grow and bring you more true stories like this one. Now let me take you back to where it all started. 3 months ago, my sister Emma called me at 11 at night. That alone should have been a red flag. Emma never called late. She was the organized one, the planner, the person who had her life figured out while I was still trying to get mine together at 32. "Hey, weird question," she said, her voice tight. "Can you watch Nola for 5 days? Derek surprised me with a Caribbean cruise and we leave Thursday." Derek was her husband. Successful real estate developer. Always smiling. Always generous. The kind of guy who remembered your birthday and brought expensive wine to dinner parties. "Of course," I said. "You know I love spending time with Nola." There was a pause. A long one. "She still isn't talking, just so you know. The doctors say it's selective mutism. She communicates with her tablet mostly. She's really good with it now." Nola hadn't spoken since she was 2 years old. No one knew why. Countless doctors, therapists, specialists. They all said the same thing. No physical reason. No trauma they could identify. She just stopped talking one day and never started again. I arrived at their house Thursday afternoon. It was one of those massive colonials in the suburbs with the perfect lawn and the 3-car garage. Derek answered the door in cargo shorts and a polo shirt, already tanned somehow. "Brother-in-law. Come in, come in." He pulled me into one of those aggressive guy hugs. "Emma's upstairs finishing packing. You know how she is." I did know. Emma could turn a weekend trip into a military operation. Nola was sitting on the couch in the living room, her tablet on her lap, headphones on. She looked up when I walked in and gave me a small wave. She had Emma's dark hair and Derek's green eyes. Beautiful kid. Quiet in every possible way. "Hey Nola," I said, waving back. She typed something on her tablet and turned it toward me. "Hi, Uncle Ray. Mom says you're staying with me." "That's right. We're going to have fun." She nodded and went back to her tablet. Emma came downstairs with 2 suitcases that could have held supplies for a month. Derek laughed and grabbed them both like they weighed nothing. "Emergency numbers are on the fridge," Emma said, hugging me. Her schedule is there too. She likes routine. Breakfast at 7:30, lunch at noon, dinner at 6. Bedtime is 8:30, but she usually reads until 9. "We'll be fine," I said. Emma knelt down in front of Nola. "Mommy and Daddy will be back Monday night, okay? Uncle Ray is going to take good care of you." Nola nodded and hugged her. Derek ruffled her hair. "Be good, princess." And then they were gone. The house suddenly felt enormous and quiet. Exploration/development. The first 2 days were easy. Nola was independent. She made her own breakfast, cereal with almond milk, and spent most of her time reading or playing educational games on her tablet. When she wanted something, she'd type it out and show me. "Can we go to the park? Want mac and cheese for lunch? Time for bed." Simple. Efficient. A little sad if I'm honest. I kept wondering what her voice sounded like. If she even remembered how to use it. Friday night I made spaghetti. Nola helped by handing me things from the fridge. We ate in silence, just the sound of forks on plates. After dinner, she typed a message. "Want to play checkers?" We played 3 games. She won all of them. Smart kid. Saturday was when things started feeling off. I woke up around 9, later than usual, and found Nola already awake, sitting at the kitchen table with her tablet. There was a cup of tea in front of her. She never drank tea. Always orange juice or water. "Morning," I said. "Since when do you drink tea?" She looked at the cup, then typed quickly. "Dad makes it for me sometimes. I made it myself." Something about that felt wrong, but I couldn't place why. I poured myself coffee and sat down across from her. That's when I noticed her hands were shaking. "You okay?" She nodded but wouldn't look at me. Her fingers moved across the tablet. "Can we go to the library?" "Sure. After lunch." She nodded again. We went to the library that afternoon. Nola loved books. She'd spend hours in the children's section, stacking them in piles, reading 3 at a time. I sat nearby scrolling through my phone while she browsed. At one point, I looked up and saw her staring at me. Not reading. Not moving. Just staring with this intense expression I'd never seen before. "What's up?" I asked. She quickly looked away and went back to her books. When we got home, she went straight to her room. I heard her door click shut. Not slam. Click. Like she was being very careful. I made dinner around 6. Chicken and rice. Called her down twice before she appeared. She barely ate. Just pushed food around her plate while typing occasional messages about school and homework. Normal stuff. But her hands kept shaking. "Nola, are you feeling okay? Are you sick?" She shook her head and typed. "Just tired." "Okay. Early bedtime tonight then." She nodded and took her plate to the sink. That night I couldn't sleep. Something was crawling under my skin. An instinct. The kind you ignore until it's too late. I got up around midnight to get water and saw light under Nola's door. I knocked softly. "Nola, you awake?" No answer. I opened the door slowly. She was sitting up in bed, tablet glowing in the dark, tears streaming down her face. Hey, what's wrong?" She quickly wiped her eyes and shook her head. Started typing, but her hands were shaking so bad she kept hitting wrong letters. Deleting. Trying again. I sat on the edge of her bed. "It's okay. Take your time." Finally, she turned the tablet toward me. "I miss Mom." My heart broke a little. "I know. She'll be home Monday. Just 2 more days." She nodded, but more tears came. I stayed with her until she fell asleep, her small hand wrapped around 2 of my fingers. Building suspense. Curiosity gap. Sunday morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. Headache. Nausea. Dizzy. Food poisoning maybe. Or a virus. I dragged myself downstairs and found Nola already in the kitchen. That cup of tea was on the counter again. Steam rising from it. "Morning," I croaked. She looked at me with those big green eyes and typed. "You look sick." "Feel sick. Might be coming down with something." She bit her lip. Unusual for her. She rarely showed that much expression. "Do you want tea? Dad says it helps." I almost said no. I'm a coffee person. Always have been. But my stomach was churning and coffee sounded horrible. "Sure. Thanks." She poured the tea from a kettle into a mug and handed it to me. It smelled like chamomile and something else I couldn't identify. Honey maybe. I took a sip. It was sweet. Almost too sweet. "This is good. Thank you." She watched me drink it. Didn't type anything. Didn't move. Just watched. I finished half the cup and set it down. "I'm going to lie down for a bit, okay? You good out here?" She nodded. I went to the couch in the living room and collapsed. The headache was getting worse. Pounding behind my eyes. My mouth felt dry despite the tea. I must have dozed off because when I opened my eyes, Nola was standing over me. Her tablet in her hands. "How long was I out?" I asked. She typed. 20 minutes. My vision was blurry. I blinked hard, trying to focus. "I feel really weird, Nola." She didn't respond. Just stared at me with an expression I'd never seen on her face before. Fear. No, not fear. Terror. Before I could ask what was wrong, I'm going to pause here and ask you something. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. The next part of this story gets intense and you won't believe what happens next. Real quick before we continue, if you're hooked on this story right now, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I need to know people actually want to hear the rest of this because what happens next is going to blow your mind. Also drop a comment and tell me if you've ever had a gut feeling that something was seriously wrong. I'm curious to know. Alright, back to the story. This is where everything falls apart. I tried to sit up, but my arms felt like they weighed 1,000 pounds. The room was spinning. Not just a little dizzy, full-on spinning like I'd been on a carousel for an hour. Nola, I think I need to go to the hospital. She took a step back. Her tablet fell from her hands and clattered on the hardwood floor. And that's when I saw it. She was mouthing words. Her lips were moving, but no sound was coming out. She was trying to tell me something. I squinted, trying to read her lips through my blurred vision. Don't drink. That's all I caught before everything went dark. I don't know how long I was out. Could have been minutes. Could have been an hour. But when I came to, I was on the floor. Face down. Drool pooling under my cheek. Every muscle in my body ached. My head felt like someone had split it open with an axe. And there was this horrible metallic taste in my mouth. I heard footsteps. Small ones. Nola. She was standing a few feet away, her tablet in her hands again, tears streaming down her face. I managed to roll onto my side. What's happening to me? She knelt down and showed me the tablet. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what to do. Sorry for what? Her fingers flew across the screen. Fast. Frantic. The tea. Dad put something in it. He makes me drink it too, but I pour it out when he's not looking. I didn't know he left it for you. I thought you knew not to drink it. My brain was moving through mud. Nothing made sense. What do you mean he put something in it? She typed again, her whole body shaking now. Medicine. He says it's vitamins, but it makes me sleepy. Really sleepy. He's been doing it for 2 years. 2 years. Jesus Christ. Why would he do that? She didn't answer right away. Just stared at her tablet. Then she typed 3 words that made my blood freeze. So I sleep. I felt vomit rising in my throat. Pushed it down. Nola, has he hurt you? She shook her head quickly. Emphatic. No. He just wants me to sleep. Every night. He checks on me after I drink the tea. Makes sure I'm asleep. Then he leaves. Leaves? Where does he go? I don't know. But I hear him come back really late. Like 3 or 4 in the morning. I pretend I'm still sleeping. My head was clearing a little. Adrenaline cutting through whatever was in that tea. Why didn't you tell your mom? Nola's face crumpled. More tears. He said if I ever talked about the tea, something bad would happen to Mom. He said it was our secret. He said I had to keep being quiet or Mom would get hurt. That son of a bitch. I tried to stand, but my legs wouldn't cooperate. I crashed back down onto the floor. Okay. We need to call someone. We need to call your mom. Nola frantically typed. We can't. They're on a cruise ship. No service. That's why he planned it now. He told me before they left. Told you what? She hesitated. Her fingers hovered over the screen. Then she typed the words that made everything click into place. He said this was the perfect week. He said Uncle Ray drinks too much and takes pills. He said if something happened to you while they were gone, everyone would think you did it to yourself. I stared at her. At this 8-year-old girl who hadn't spoken in 6 years. Who'd been living with this nightmare. Nola, was he trying to kill me? She nodded. The room spun again, but this time it wasn't the drugs. It was pure rage mixed with terror. Why? Why would he want me dead? She picked up her tablet with shaking hands. Because of the papers. What papers? The ones in Mom's desk. I saw them last month. They have your name on them. I had no idea what she was talking about. My sister and I were close, but we didn't have any legal documents together. No business. No shared property. Can you show me? Nola nodded and helped me stand. I leaned on her tiny shoulders as we made our way to Emma's home office. Every step felt like walking through concrete. She opened the bottom drawer of Emma's desk and pulled out a manila folder. Inside were documents. Legal documents. With my name on them. And Emma's. And one more name I recognized. Our grandmother's. My grandmother had died 18 months ago. She'd been wealthy. Really wealthy. Old oil money from Texas. But she'd been estranged from most of the family for decades. I hadn't seen her since I was a kid. These papers were a will. Her will. And according to these documents, she'd left everything to me and Emma. 50-50 split. $23 million. I'd never seen these papers before in my life. But at the bottom was my signature. Except it wasn't my signature. It was close. Really close. But the R in Ray was wrong. Too loopy. Someone had forged my signature. There was another document underneath. A waiver. Signed by me, or supposedly by me, giving up my half of the inheritance to Emma. Also forged. My hand started shaking so hard I almost dropped the papers. He did this, I said out loud. Derek forged these. But why? If Emma got my half, what did he gain? Then I saw the last document. A life insurance policy on Emma. $5 million. Beneficiary, Derek Morrison. And underneath it, another policy. On me. $2 million. Also beneficiary, Derek Morrison. The pieces fell into place like a nightmare puzzle. Derek had forged documents to make sure Emma got the full inheritance. Then he was going to kill her and make it look like an accident. Cash in the life insurance. Walk away with $28 million. But I was a problem. If I was alive, I could contest the will. Prove the signature was fake. Ruin everything. So I had to go first. Make it look like a suicide. Depressed uncle with substance abuse issues. Tragic. Sad. No one would question it. Then Emma. Grieving widow accidentally drowns on a cruise. Or falls overboard. Or has a medical emergency. Clean. Simple. Perfect. I looked down at Nola. This little girl who'd been silent for 6 years. Who'd been drugged nightly to keep her compliant. Who'd watched her stepfather plot murder and couldn't say a word because he'd threatened her mother's life. We need to get out of this house, I said. Right now. I grabbed the papers and my phone. Called 911. Told them everything. Poisoning. Forged documents. Threats. They said officers were on the way. While we waited, I called Emma's cell. Straight to voicemail like Nola said. The cruise ship was in the middle of the Caribbean. No signal. I sent her an email. A text. A voicemail. Everything I could think of. Do not go anywhere alone with Derek. Call me the second you get this. Nola sat next to me on the front porch, her tablet in her lap. She hadn't typed anything in 10 minutes. Just sat there, staring at nothing. Hey, I said softly. You saved my life. You know that, right? She looked up at me with those big green eyes. And then she opened her mouth. I was so scared. Her voice. I heard her voice. It was small and scratchy like she hadn't used it in years, because she hadn't, but it was there. You're talking, I whispered. He said if I ever talked, Mom would die. But you were dying. And I thought maybe if I broke the rule, you wouldn't die. And maybe that was more important. I pulled her into a hug and she sobbed into my shoulder. 6 years of silence breaking open all at once. The police arrived 15 minutes later. Then detectives. Then FBI because it crossed state lines with the forged inheritance documents. They tested the T. Benzodiazepines. Enough to cause respiratory failure in someone my size if I'd finished the whole cup. They got in touch with the cruise ship. Pulled Emma and Derek off in Port of Spain, Trinidad. Derek was arrested the moment they docked. Fought it. Screamed about false accusations. Demanded lawyers. Emma was destroyed. Couldn't believe it. Didn't want to believe it. Until they showed her the forged documents. The life insurance policies he'd taken out without telling her. The searches on his computer about drug interactions and suicide methods. The trial took 8 months. Derek's lawyers tried everything. Said I'd fabricated the evidence. Said Nola was coached. Said the whole thing was a scheme to steal Emma's inheritance. But the evidence was overwhelming. Forensics on the documents. His fingerprints on the tea kettle. Search history. Financial records showing he was drowning in debt from bad real estate deals. He got 35 years. No parole. Emma divorced him immediately. She gave me half the inheritance like Grandma wanted. We didn't need forged papers for that. And Nola. She talks now. Started therapy the week after Derek was arrested. Still doesn't talk a lot. She's naturally quiet, but when she does, we listen. She told her therapist that she stopped talking when she was 2 because Derek had yelled at her for being too loud during one of his business calls. Told her that children should be seen and not heard. It terrified her so much that she just stopped. And he reinforced it for 6 years. Praised her for being so well-behaved. So quiet. So perfect. The tea started after Emma mentioned taking Nola to a new therapist who specialized in selective mutism. Derek panicked. Thought Nola might start talking and reveal something. So he started drugging her to keep her compliant and sleepy. It's been 3 months now. Emma and Nola moved to a new house. Smaller. Safer. No memories of Derek. I see them twice a week. We have dinner. Play games. Normal stuff. Last week, Nola asked me a question while we were playing checkers. Uncle Ray, do you think I could have talked sooner? Like if I was braver. I looked at this kid who'd been manipulated and threatened and drugged. Who'd broken 6 years of silence to save my life. Nola, you're the bravest person I know. You talked exactly when you needed to. She smiled. Small but real. Then she absolutely destroyed me in checkers again. That cup of tea was supposed to be the last thing I ever drank. Instead, it was the thing that exposed the truth and saved both our lives. Because Nola found her voice again. And she used it to save me. If this story got to you, subscribe to this channel for more real stories that'll keep you up at night. And remember, sometimes the quietest people have the most important things to say.